Hello and welcome to a video that I'm not sure what we're titling, but anyway, I'm Colm Ahern, and with me is the gorgeous and sexy Lee Garbett. Lee, how are you?
Gorgeous and sexy, excellent, it's good. We're off good start already.
Gorgeous, sexy, I could come up with other adjectives to describe you, Lee, to be honest. Anytime I look at your beautiful face.
Talented, interesting.
Well, it's mainly physical attraction, to be honest.
Oh, you can't have it all. You're either one or the other, really, aren't you?
And we are here to talk about Metrocide, which is a game from Flat Earth Games, and it's supposed to be coming out in the second half of this year. And myself and Lee got access to a work in progress build, and I think it's safe to say that there's no better way to describe this build. It is certainly a work in progress. Do you want to describe what Metrocide is, Lee? In I suppose as best as possible way you can.
Well, it's very reminiscent of the very first Grand Theft Auto. So you have it's a top-down shooter, and basically from what we've played, it's pretty much you have to find contracts. We find a contact to get a list of assassin contracts. You pick your contract, and then you have to go after whoever your target is, without getting shot by the police, which is bloody difficult, but we'll probably get into that in a bit. You can buy weapons, you can get money from contacts to buy those weapons, and that's pretty much the game. The build we've got, it's pretty much a score attack of sorts, but what was your top score, Colm?
I got to either 400 or 500.
Wow,
I can't remember.
I got to about 100. So
right.
Yes, that's one kill basically. Before thinking, fuck this, and I turned it off. I mean, I don't think I played any more than 10 to 15 minutes of it, because I think the single biggest failing of this game is the controls.
Yeah, I think it controls, like you brought up Grand Theft Auto, and that instantly, anyway, just looking at it from just an aesthetic point of view, you have that top-down view. The character models look like that original Grand Theft Auto on PS1, but it's kind of devoid of that character that Grand Theft Auto had. Like the city, they claim the city feels alive, but I didn't get that feeling at all, to be honest.
It's a very dark, very dreary. I mean, it's supposed to be a cyberpunk game. It did actually come from a cyberpunk game jam. So hence the aesthetics and the general dreariness and the depressing nature of the visuals. But it's very difficult to actually see what you're doing, and then it's actually even more difficult to control what you're doing, because you kind of move around like normal, although it's kind of almost like for kind of first-person controls in a way, because you can move forward, you can move back, you can stray to the left and stray to the right, and then you move your cursor around your targeting reticule with the mouse cursor. So you kind of, it's almost like Smash TV gone very shitty. So you can just kind of.
There's a box quote.
Yeah, it just doesn't really work. I mean, going back to kind of the old Grand Theft Auto, you fired in whatever direction you're facing, so you only needed the one stick for movement, and when it works well in that regards. But here, because you're worrying about what direction you're facing, where your targeting reticule is, it's very difficult to place yourself in a way that you can run the way you want to run. It's all too easy to just, when you want to go left and you press left, and you're just kind of shuffling slowly to the left and just taking bullets from the nearest cops that are around you. Yeah,
and like as you said, shuffling. I found the game to be incredibly slow, because as you said, so you start off and you must find your contact, and through them you can buy weapons, or you can go to get these assassination contracts, a la, I suppose, Assassin's Creed or something, like side missions in Assassin's Creed, and each one has a credit value attached to it. So you have your 100 credits, which are basically kind of the easiest ones, where you track down someone. You have a kind of a thing at the top left hand side of the screen, which gives you a general direction of where to go, tells you how many meters away your target is. You track them down and you kill them. And the go you start off with a handgun, and Jesus, that is incredibly slow as well, because you must raise it and you must allow the weapon to warm up, then shoot them, and once that happens, like, there are a number of surveillance cameras around. That if they see you, cops will come straight on you and kill you more or less straight away, because it's a one-hit kill. Or you have these kind of drones flying around in the air that will possibly see you as well. But you can hide the bodies in like manholes. I think you can hide them in bins as well. But there was no reward for that. Now there might be in the finish game, but like I hit a body and just nothing happened. You know, it was just kind of like, what was there was no real advantage to doing that, because if you just get out of the area as quick as possible and the cops don't see you, then you're fine. Some of the more expensive contracts, the contracts that have like a 200 credit value or 300 credit value, are a little bit more difficult. Like, I don't know, did you look at them and all, Lee? But
yeah, I tried one where basically it didn't give you a position of where the person was. It gave you a rough area. It gave you a picture of what that person looks like, and it also told me that he knows me, or he recognises me. So if he sees me, he's going to run off. So that made it particularly difficult. So I went to the general area this person was in. I caught a glimpse of him as he was going into a building, and then I had to wait a good probably 2 or 3 minutes for that guy to come out again. And by that time, he clocked onto me, raised the alarm, and then shot me before my gun could warm up. So that was not a very successful mission.
I also found as well that like that type of contract that you're talking about, they give you a picture, and down the bottom right hand side of the corner you have a map, and it gives you a general idea of where the person is. But I found that for the most part, whenever I went to this area, I've still found it quite difficult to find the person. I found the map kind of difficult to read.
Well, I think because your tracker in the top left, it kind of blinks in and out every so often to update how far away you are from your target. Because it does that blinking thing, it doesn't tell you like, in real time almost. It just kind of tells you every 5 seconds like where your target is. So it's very easy to either shoot your mark, and then even when you have found you're in that exact area, it's not always too clear where that target actually is. So even then you're still kind of losing them, and then if they're the kind of target that recognises you and you can't be seen, then you've already lost it. Or you get the case where you pull your gun out to get ready, and then the cops realise you pulled your gun out, and then they shoot you and you're dead.
Yeah. And it's very, very unforgiving, which I don't know, so some of the Dark Souls audience might appreciate maybe, but I mean, Lee, you come from a kind of a more old school background than me, when games were tougher and they weren't babying us for hours on end with tutorials, but still, yeah, you didn't gravitate towards it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't very explain itself very well. When we loaded up the builds, you kind of get a little message saying, this is a demo, blah blah blah, go kill everybody, etc. But it doesn't really kind of explain anything more than that. It doesn't tell you really how to succeed. It just says, here are some missions, go find your contact, go find someone to kill, don't get killed by the cops. And I think there may be more to this game than that. I mean, especially in regards to stealth, it's very difficult to figure out what you're kind of running away from. Like, what are drones, what are cars, what are random people, are they cops? The game doesn't really explain any of that, so it's it's not very clear how to avoid getting killed. It doesn't really explain itself at all, which makes it kind of difficult for us to figure out what's actually going on.
Yeah, like there are little kind of random things within the game. Like you'll be notified when there's a gang member kind of within your proximity, and if you shoot them, you'll get 50 credits, just as little kind of random bits on the side. But still, you have to be cautious of looking out for your surveillance cameras and your drones flying around and stuff like that. Like as you said, Lee, maybe there might be more to it when this actually comes out later this year. Like there are, from what I gather in the build that we played, there are 2 other maps as well, but we could only access the one map, the downtown map. At least that's all I could access.
Yeah, I can only access that one map. I mean, as a as a product of a game jam, we can't really be too harsh on it, because I imagine that there was a very strict time limit on the amount of time made to create this, and for that reason, I can't say, oh, it's dog awful. It's lacking something. It needs, but we don't know how much is left to develop for this game. What they're adding, whether there's going to be more bit of hand holding, more explanation of things. As it stands now, it's a very very bare bones, and you can probably see that from this video. There isn't too much at this point.
No,
but they are pretty Flat Earth games. I think the only previous game they developed was one that I reviewed a few months ago called Towncraft, which was a crafting, a town sim style thing that was actually really good. So they are pretty good developers. So I do wonder that the final version of this will hopefully add a lot more. I mean, the premise is there. It's a decent premise. The idea of a stealthy score attack style game is a good one. I just think it kind of fails on the controls and the lack of an explanation and description of what actually is going on.
Yeah, I just think kind of lack of things to do. I don't know. I just kind of found like just these contracts kind of over and over again. I do think that there will be more to the actual finished product, but I suppose we'll see later in 2014.
We sure will.
So yeah, thanks very much for watching this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you, Lee, and thanks everyone, and all that kind of stuff. Bye.